Come on in.
Oh,
You looking for somebody?
are we
Haven't
are we
seen him
scheduled to
yet.
go, Mr. Chairman?
All right.
Not yet.
Yeah, we're starting the
Somebody
meeting.
else is first. Okay.
Okay.
No, we'll tell you when. Yeah.
Okay. I call
Okay. Thank you.
at 5:36 p.m. on Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. The first order of business is to approve the minutes of November 6th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Who was the second? Sorry.
Tony.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, our first hearing tonight is Zaringer, which is, the property number is 00602036.00021 Aldrich Road. Russ, would you like to,
Well, oaths and conflicts.
all right, so no, first thing I need to do is swear in the witnesses. So who is going to testify in this case? And if you're here, you should come up here. It's Dave, right? Yes. Harrington.
Buckley.
Buckley.
Buckley, excuse me.
Not to be
Dave
confused with
Buckley.
non-snow.
Yeah,
Russ
right.
is going to testify.
Right. Yeah.
And Mr. Zaringer, are you going to testify too?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so can you please all raise your right hand? Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Mr. Zaringer, have you received a copy of our rules of procedure?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
Have you received a copy of our rules of procedure?
I have not.
I believe our town clerk sent them to you as part of your package.
Well, okay. It's certainly possible. I haven't. I don't recall reviewing them. So I apologize.
Okay. All right. Does any member of the BUCA have a conflict of interest or have had ex parte communications?
No.
I've met Mr. Zaringer before, had no long-term business with him. We've talked years ago. I'm just pointing that out.
Okay.
We talked about his property years and years ago. And that's all I got. I'm just sharing that.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. All right, Russ, would you please give a brief description of the property and its value?
Well, sure. We have residential property located at 21 Aldrich Road. It is actually a combination of parcels for tax-only purposes only.
Russ,
Lean
Yeah.
back,
we're having a little trouble hearing you.
straighten up.
How's that? Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay, thanks. It's probably my voice. It's just not a good voice. Anyway, yeah, so we got a property at 21 Aldrich Road. It's residential property. It's actually a combination for tax billing purposes. It's comprised of three actual parcels. It has a total of 43.46 acres for the three parcels. The property is in current use. There's 35 of the acres are in current use. The current market value for the property is $938,110. The actual assessed value after the application of current use is $822,750.
Okay. And just so I understand the property card, the column all the way to the right, what is that?
That's just the home site calculation,
Oh, okay.
house site calculation.
All right. All right, Mr. Zaringer, do you want to start or do you want Mr. Buckley to start?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a brief statement that I'd like to read into the record. Let me turn this volume down on my iPad. Okay. Excuse me. The state of Vermont generally defines fair market value as, and I quote, the estimated fair market value of a property is the price that the property will bring in the market when offered for sale and purchased by another, taking into consideration all the elements of the availability of the property, its use both potential and prospective, any functional deficiencies, and all other elements such as age and condition that combine to give property a market value. It is my understanding that this is the principal purpose of engaging in a reappraisal effort. Further, I understand that when a fair market value of a property is determined, it must thereafter be adjusted for a common level of assessment if the market does not support the assessments in a measurable way. Wilmington, as you know, received a directive from the state to do exactly that, as evidenced by their 2023 equalization study, showing that based on their last reappraisal of 2023 equalization study, showing that based on their last reappraisal in 2020, Wilmington's common level of assessment, the CLA, was 69.77, with a coefficient of dispersion, or COD, of 27.11. And now the taxpayers, of which I'm one, we're all one, after contracting for a new appraisal, approximately 7 months after completion, a CLA of 71.82 and a COD of 21.53 was reached. This is not what we signed up for, and I don't believe an argument can be made to justify this outcome. I would like to suggest that there's a statistical failure here at the heart of this sort of flawed data collection process, which is unrelated to the true value of Wilmington properties. I would also suggest that there is little or no analysis of data quality. For example, no inspections, no physical inspections, no MLS data, which has further contributed to the flawed outcomes. Specifically, I think there are inaccurate assessments. As a result, that skews some of the results. Unfair property taxation, which is a result of some incorrect conclusions. Biased decision-making as a result of, I think, poor predictive models, and a decreased public trust as a result of what appears to be an inefficient resource allocation. And, excuse me, missing in this conversation, as I understand, is the state oversight. The state's portion of my tax bill, as I understand it, is approximately 75%. My bill says that the state adjusts their state rate downward, reflecting their determination of the current CLA at 102.5%. The 65 sales that we've provided from April 1st, 2024, clearly shows no support for the state's determination of the current CLA for the town of Wilmington. I think it's clear and reasonably obvious that the effective parties, that the contractor's model and its complexity exceeds the data quality. And for some reason, the state is silent on predictive quality, poor training or insufficient training, data quality issues, and inadequate model selections. So that brings us to where we are. The state's inaccurate determination of the current CLA, no participation or oversight, no listers input or oversight, no discovery beyond errors and omissions, and reliance on the good members of the BCA. And thank you very much. The only information I received from the assessor was 5 properties. This was before the information that Therese sent over a couple hours ago, which I think my appraiser has looked at. I have not seen it, or I have not reviewed it. The only information I received from the assessor or the reassessor, was 5 properties he presented as comparable using a comparative sales analysis absent any firsthand information, no inspection, and no MLS access. no explanation for validity of adjustments and presumably using the same, which I appear to think, misguiding algorithms that predicted property values April 1st, 2024, down 72% or at 72% of those values. As far as I am concerned, there is insufficient data making this effort really kind of fruitless. That's my assessment of the assessment. And I want to thank the BCA for their time. I know that this has been an onerous effort for everybody. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Buckley, would you like to testify?
Well, I supplied you all with a comprehensive report. One of the rules of my writing reports is that all information should be in that report so a layperson can draw their own conclusions. And maybe they're not the same as my conclusions, but I think I've included all the most relevant data with all of the most transparency as to why that data is significant and should be credible. It's a 29-page report. Unless there's any questions, I'll just rest on the good nature of your reading the report.
Okay. And the appraised value you came up with was $715,000.
Correct.
And Mr. Zabringer, that's the value you would like to see your property assessed at. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Russ, would you like to respond?
Okay, so basically to stay on task here, in trying to determine the value for this property, I provided 5 comparables. Then after looking closer, I found that there was a house right down the street, 57 Aldrich Road, was not included in the comparables because I had set the system to pick comps based on how the state does the 3-year study. So the state, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, now I think.
Okay. Sorry about that. So in looking at the comparables, I found that 57 Aldrich wasn't included, which was a sale that sold approximately the same time as 21 Aldrich. And it's probably the most similar property to this property. It's on the same street. It's a larger parcel. It's actually comprised of 3 lots also. And I've included the property record card for it. And that was assessed at $931,000. And 21 Aldrich, the subject property, is valued at $938,000. So they're very, very similar valuations, very similar properties. So I created a new comparable report. And what I did was I just selected properties from neighborhood 11, which are the neighborhood that this property is in. So it included Leslie Hill Road, 139 Leslie Hill Road, 57 Aldrich Road, and 252 Ray Hill Road. Now, the other thing that I did was I didn't use a time trend. So these sales that I used for comparables are older sales, and the current value is based on the older sales. So the actual value of the property is probably higher than what we have on it for the current assessment, based on the fact that these sales, the older sales that we're using are not time trended. So I also looked at the assessments of the estimated market values for the 3 major real estate firms, and the Realtor.com listed the property at 1.28 million, 1.028 Zillow listed the value at 1.24 million. And Redfin estimated the value at 1.86, 1.87 million. All of which are higher than what we have for the current market value. I also looked at the 57 Aldrich Road, which again is a very comparable property. And the values on these three sites were very close to the same value of they have on 21 Aldrich. So they also considered the properties very comparable. And now one of the issues as far as using comparable sales, we don't go past April 1. The appellants can use sales after April 1. But since the state does their 3-year analysis and the calculation of the calculation of the CLA is all based on just the three prior years of sales before April 1, 2024. So any sales after that, if the market's changing or going up, whatever's happening to it, it's still going up as far as we can tell. So the sales that were provided by the appellant are after April 1, and they would indicate probably a lower CLA than is actually the CLA that the state would come up with, which we don't even have yet. And the other thing is that the state no longer uses the CLA as a criteria for reappraisal. It's still going to be used for tax billing purposes, but it's not used to determine the trigger a reappraisal going forward after this year. I think that's all I have right now. Can you hear me okay still?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mr. Buckley?
I'll just make a couple of points. The reference to Realtor.com and Zillow is absolute hearsay. It should have no evidentiary weight at this hearing. It's total hearsay. It's an automated valuation method taken off the internet. And I don't think that the town's representative can speak to that material because it's not his work product. Now, as far as CLA is concerned, on the tax bill that my client got, it specifically says CLA 102.5. That's what it says. So that's the state's adjustment to their tax rate. So they are using it. And they're using a 102.5 as the current CLA for April 1st. And clearly 65 sales suggests that they are not even close. They have done no post system check on the assessments that this method is generating. And this method clearly by 65 sales is generating the same CLA that caused by 2 points, caused the reappraisal for this town in 2020 when it was 70%. It's now 72%. So the CLA is in place. The state would like to shift as a result of, I think it's House Bill 480 to COD. I'll just take a brief moment to tell you why they're zeroing in on the COD other than to make it more difficult for the public to understand. The COD shows the scatter on the graph. So when you graph a bunch of points from math 4th grade, you try to drive a straight line through that data. The data is tight, it's close to the straight line. But the data is all over the place. There's outliers, it's up and it's down. That's what causes the coefficient dispersion to rise. And the industry standard is 15%, but clearly the whole state is in the 20s, and it's a direct result of utilizing a cost approach. That's what's causing it. The data analysis is not being analyzed as it should be based on the properties. It's being analyzed on a cost to replace, less depreciation, plus land, with land schedules and depreciation schedules. Doesn't work. the model failed.
Mr. Zaringer, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't.
Okay. Great, thank you very much.
I have one last little comment.
Sure, go right ahead, Mr. Buckley.
Please take note at the inspection of some of the issues that are discussed in the appraisal as relating to functional obsolescence.
Okay.
This inspection probably is pretty important.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's good to know. All right, so the next step in this hearing is to schedule an inspection. And so the first thing we need to do is get an inspection team, but perhaps if we can get some dates, then we can figure out who should come up and inspect the property. What dates work for you, Mr. Zaringer?
Well, I'm pretty flexible, and if I'm not there, Peter Rousseau, my neighbor who lives across the street, that kind of looks after the house when we're not there, can certainly arrange to let whoever the BCA designates to let them in. It's not that complicated. So we can just work off of your schedule and availability.
Okay. Who would like to volunteer to inspect this property?
Anybody rushing? I'll be glad to go.
Depending on the date. I
Oh,
can-
Well, it's up to us.
We're picking one.
What date do you want on?
Oh,
And while you're looking, can I just ask one question? to Mr.
Oh, I'm
Buckley?
sorry, I should
No,
have
that's
asked.
all right.
No.
I think I read it accurately, but the tennis court is not in service. Is that what you noted? Okay. The base is still there, but,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
so today's the 13th, right?
Yes.
Right, oh, good. Oh,
And we want to be done before
the
next
20th.
Wednesday.
yeah,
Yes.
So, I don't know,
You
the
have a
15th at
you have a 1
9 in the
o'clock
morning?
tomorrow. That's the only thing you have
Yep. I
on the
know.
calendar right now. An inspection, I don't remember.
Yeah,
who's-
tomorrow
I
we
don't
have
remember
1
who's
o'clock.
on it.
140 Oil Heights, right?
What day do you want to go?
You must have misunderstood me.
Yeah. So tomorrow, went Friday at 9.
Yeah,
I can do it then.
1, 2.
Friday at 9,
You can do that, Tony?
with wings on my feet.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Friday at 9.
All right, so Friday at 9.
Tony, Megan, Bonnie?
Yeah. And
I better write that down.
and who did he say could let us in?
Therese, would,
Peter Russo.
Peter Russo? Okay.
so
Yeah.
Therese, do you make that arrangement?
You're muted.
Do you make that arrangement with Peter Russo?
No, Mr. Zaringer
Oh,
should be
okay.
making that arrangement.
Okay, got it.
Or Mr. Buckley will. That's all right. Mr. Buckley will communicate with you, I think.
Thumbs up, you've got the date.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Now we can.
Oh, yeah, I'll call Peter. I'll call him tonight. So it'd be 9 o'clock this Friday morning.
Correct.
yes.
Great, not a problem. So I'll just tell Peter to be in front of the garage, and he can easily let you guys in.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, and thanks for your work.
Our next hearing is Grinald, Cygnus, property number 01004006.300, 3 Ghastly Job Way. This is a continuance, and I believe everybody's been sworn in. All right, Russ, would you like to introduce this property, please?
Okay, again, it's a 3 Ghastly Job Way. It's comprised of 4.35 acres and a commercial style garage metal Morton building, which is 36 by 45. The current assessment is $96,260.
Adam, do
Does anyone have a copy of this?
I think we do.
Don't have yours. No.
They don't have one I emailed?
Right. You were gonna bring copies.
Yeah, yep. So I brought 4.
Yep.
We can share.
Okay.
You got 2 on laptop, so you got.
We haven't heard anything yet. This was a continuance.
Anything at all.
You've got the right to report.
I'm gonna make sure.
There you go. Don't let Tony hassle you.
It's not, John, it's not him, it's gonna be you.
Just need 3 on the end.
Thank you. Share. If you like,
She's
or-
giving us-
there you go. You
I
got
have
it.
that stuff.
We're all
Do
good.
you?
We need
Yeah.
one? Okay. no?
It's online, right? It's in the Dropbox.
Yes, it is.
Okay, then I'm fine.
I gotta get one more. You need one. Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Again, thank you. I know you've got a lot of time into this, so I will not drag this out more than it needs to be from my perspective. So the first page of the packet is, I believe, the current lister's card, one version of it. So that, if you look at that, you'll see up in the left-hand corner, we're commercial building. Down below, under land data and calculations, we're listed as residential excess versus commercial outbuilding, which is described above. So I'm not sure if that's an error or just a different way that that's shown on the sheets. I have examples deeper in the packet of different ways that was approached. So if you go into the packet, try to do this in the same order you have it, to the Boyd sample.
Just for clarity, your packet or the assessor's packet?
This is my packet.
Okay,
So I've included a assessor's card from the Boyd Family Trust for 125 East Dover Road. So if you're driving towards Dover, this one sits up on Route 100, not down in on the Sitzmark Road. So it's where their farm is. So that property is a barn on a piece of land, similar. So this assessor's card, you'll notice, is different than the one that we have. So when you go back and forth, you look at page 2 of both our card and this card, and you'll see that they're different, which is a topic I had started to bring up last time, which there's different information provided. So if you get the card with the information in the upper right-hand corner, you get all of the base cost, exterior walls, structure cost, physical depreciation cost information, all of these things that you don't get in the one provided to the person who's appealing. So I think structurally, there's a significant flaw that information is kept from someone who's appealing, and only the assessor has that information. So if you look at the Boyd's calculation up in the upper right-hand corner of page 2, you start to work all the way through it and you'll see base cost of $14, exterior walls $12, basic structure cost $26, depreciation cost. All these calculations you don't see if you don't have that more detailed assessor's card. So what we see when we look at the Boyd's is the total square footage of 3,528 comes up to a 42,610 value, or $12 a square foot base cost. When you look at Gasly's, you see a 1,620 square feet equals a value of 28,330, which equals $17.48 a square foot value. Now, I suspect that there's other things at play, multipliers in classes and things like that, which I would understand if I had received that information. Also in your packet is an email that I sent to Sarah, who's been great, very responsive, forwarded that along to the assessor with a list of questions to help understand how to understand these cards. Because, every person I've heard try to appeal or work their way through this doesn't understand it. And it's because all of the different multipliers that impact if you've changed from average to good, if you have the full depreciation, if you're in a class, if you're in a neighborhood. And as I go through these, I start to find inconsistencies in, do you have a plus factor or a negative factor? So specific to Cygnus property in your packet, there's a few properties that have negative influence of 20 to 25%. I'd like to know why those properties have the negative influence factor of 25% and why our property does not. So there's a variety of different questions that I think would help if we receive the same valuation as the Boyd per square foot. And we also had a negative influence factor for being right on Route 9. We would come closer to the value that we had hoped during our initial appeal. So I don't know if I should ask questions to you folks, just to the assessor. If there is no questions, if I just make my statements and.
You shouldn't be asking us questions.
Yes. So I can ask the assessor questions?
You can make statements that the assessor is going to respond to your testimony. Okay. So it might be better if you make statements and the assessor responds to them. If you're not happy with all of his things, you can follow up.
Okay. Yeah, so I think there's ample, when I look through both for the comparisons I've included in this packet and others, properties often on Route 9 have a negative influence factor. When I appealed this valuation the last time it was reassessed in 2022, Debbie Kingsley was the town, I don't know if she was what her title was, an assessor or admin to the assessor.
Right.
Testified in the hearing that we shouldn't have a negative influence, that the value of the land should be the same as the value of land that's sold at the top of the hill in the same development, which has views of Mount Snow and Haystack, is not right on Route 9. And I questioned that and have since confirmed that positive influence factors are when there's views, when there's something extraordinary about the location, negative or when there's impacts such as traffic noise, commercial activity, or things of the such. So I think this property warrants that negative influence. I think it's been overvalued on the base factor, but would be curious to learn more about what goes into that base factor rate from the assessor. I'll end there.
Okay. Russ, would you like to respond, please?
Okay, so basically this is kind of a hybrid property because it's, we checked the zoning. The reason we have it classified with a home site and residential excess acres is because it's residential zoned, not a commercial zone property, but it has a commercial style building on it. We can call it, right now we just classified it as a commercial property, but we can change the description, which doesn't change the value. It's just a basic overall description of the property. So when I did my analysis, I found two comparable properties in town, which I provided the property record cards for. One's at 312 Vermont Route 9 East, and the other one is at 361 Vermont Route 9. These are very similar properties with a commercial style garage on them. And they're both sales. The one at 312 Vermont Route 9 sold for $220,000 in 2021, and that has 10 acres. It's a larger parcel. And the one at 361 Route 9 West has only 1 acre, and that sold this year for $201,000. The question about the property record cards is that typically, no matter where you are in Vermont, what town, no matter what camera system they use, they don't print the details of how everything is calculated, but because it comes through a computer system, it's fairly complex. So we print the property record card with the picture because it's more appealing, I guess. And anybody that is interested in finding out the exact calculation, we can print the card without the picture, and it will display the cost structure, how the building was actually calculated. So we have 3 property cards. We have what we call a standard card, which can be printed with or without the picture. And then we also have the public card, which we use for most of the comparable properties, because it doesn't give all the gory details that nobody's really interested in, or it's hard in some cases to explain because it comes through the computer calculation. So that's how I came up with the value for this property.
Okay, thank you, Russ. Adam, do you have any questions?
I guess the valuation is not derived from the information on the card. I'm asking the assessor.
No, definitely is.
Okay, but what I heard you just say is you calculated the value from the recent sales.
No, the comparables are just comparables. The comparables are not used directly anywhere in Vermont for the final valuation. All properties have to be done using a standard methodology, which is market adjusted cost approach. And that's to determine equity so that properties are fairly assessed. If you use a market comparable approach, then if you don't have any sales for that type of property, then how are you going to value it? And so the commercial properties this is just a minor commercial property, just a commercial, more of an outbuilding than anything. But if we're doing appraisals or assessments for commercial properties, we typically do, we try to use more than one method. We would use market adjusted cost approach, or we would use income approach. And if there are sales, we use the sales. In this case, the only evidence I could find to substantiate or support the value is the 2 sales of these commercial garage properties that are very similar.
Okay, and so that value of those 2 similar properties is not used to determine the value of our property. It's used to determine the cost approach?
No, it's used to support, it's used as support evidence to show that our value is in line. In this case, it may even show that it's undervalued based on the 2 sales. And it also shows that our assessed values are lower than what these properties sold for.
Understood, but so using the Boyd family trust property here, all the costs that are involved in the construction, so the cost to build it are listed on the card. And you have those for that property, which is insulated, has heat, has water, is not a Morton building. You've listed those costs, and you show those costs out at a square foot total of $12 after depreciation, which is the same amount of depreciation you've assigned to our property, and yet their cost is $12 a square foot and ours is 17. I don't reconcile what you're saying to those facts.
Well, there are two different types of buildings, and they all run through the same system. We put the data in, and the town subscribes to Marshall and Swift Valuation Service. And all we do is, it's a proprietary system. It's copyright protected. It's intellectual property. So the only thing that we can show is as much information on the property record card as we can to show how the calculation was done. So like in your case, if we print your property record card without the picture, it would show you the details of how the building was actually calculated.
Right, I feel like what I'm hearing you say is that you have to use the cost calculation, but yet you're not. Am I missing something there?
The assessments are based on the market adjusted cost approach using Marshall and Swift Valuation Service. All properties in town are done using that process. When there's appeals or grievances or BCAs or state, whatever, we have to supply evidence. And we use evidence from sales and any other method to try to support. So the comparables that I supplied are support information only to show that it's a reasonable value, fair value.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Questions from the BCA?
Adam, was the land tested for septic system? I mean, it is residential zoning, so,
It can, no, there is a perkable site
okay.
there.
And maybe this was evident somewhere, but I missed it. The building doesn't have power or water.
It does have power, it has no water, it's got no insulation, it's a bare bones,
Strict
no
storage,
foundation,
strictly.
dirt floor,
Okay.
piers.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And Adam, what's the value you would like for this property?
There you go.
So the value that was set way back in 2023, before adding and this is in your packet. I can't make heads or tails.
54,920
I'm sorry, what's that?
in the
I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, I'll get there. Hang on.
54,920,
No, I was going a little higher than that.
60 something.
67,930.
Yes.
There we go. We have a winner.
Oh,
Wait.
wait, no, let him answer the question,
Yes,
Tony.
Here we go. I have it here. $64,630 was the value in the last reassessment. And that was,
2020?
no, it was odd because we separated the property, so we had a new property created, so there's a new assessment done.
So say that value again, just
$64,630, which is the total when it was a new card was created, the property was valued at
okay.
and for building and land, it was $64,630.
And what's your evidence of that value?
So that's one number, and then my evidence that I feel I've presented tonight would be to apply a 25% discount like similar properties, and to apply a similar square foot cost to the other properties that I identified. That square foot cost, if applied, would be $19,440. And the discount factor would deduct $16,982, which those totaled Equals 59,838.
That's the value you're looking at?
I mean, I guess, yes.
Okay. Well, no, I mean,
I would be happy if it was, I would be fine. with
so
the-
our job is to establish a fair market value for the property.
Yeah.
And so, it's much better if the appellant, the assessor has given us his fair market value for the property. And we always ask the appellant to provide their fair market value for the property.
Understood. That math comes up with 59. If it had been 64, I would not have agreed.
Okay.
So would you please just tell me the 69 what?
59,
59, 838.
838.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right, so usually at this point, we would have an inspection team and schedule a date with you, but I think we'll go through your other hearing first and then talk about inspections after we finish your hearings.
This one should be a little easier.
Yes, I think it would be. All right, so the next property is Grinald. The property number is HS Saddle .016, land only, Saddle Ridge. And this is a continuance, so you're already sworn in. So Russ, do you want to briefly describe this property for us, please?
Yes, we have a vacant lot, which is actually, I would consider a paper lot. It's not on a defined street. It's 0.25 acres. And we have it valued at $1,500.
Okay, thank you. Adam.
So, given what we just heard about the way to assess properties with sales, I would question if there's been a sale to use as a comp for this. I think the only transaction on these properties has been people abandoning them to the town. So that it went from set, and I looked through and I see there's many people who grieved this assessment. I see they're all denied. I see no basis for how this assessment was doubled from 750 to 1,500. And I question the methodology on doing that.
Okay. Russ, you want to respond, please?
Yeah, when the reappraisal was done back in 2020, there was no market sales. There weren't any evidence of what they were worth. The $500 per lot was determined years ago. I'm not sure under what circumstances it was determined they were worth $500, but they had settled on that. After the 2020 reappraisal, the state said that it wasn't appropriate for the town not to change the value, and they requested that the town change the values. That was irrelevant, basically because we were doing a reappraisal. But I provided, I think, 4 or 5 actual sales of one of these lots, and those sales were used to determine the $1,500 for this property. And that's the only evidence we have is what I provided is the only evidence we have for those type of properties in that development.
Any questions, Adam? Questions from the BCA?
No.
I do have a quick question.
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
Just looking at the other sales that Russ just reported on, they all appear to be close to the golf course, I'm guessing. Is your property close to the golf course?
No, it's at the end of the runway.
North end or south end?
The bad.
Dover.
Yeah, no, the
No, can't be
Wilmington.
Dover.
the end
Dover.
by Colebrook Road.
Thank you.
And what value do you want for this property?
Someday something, please, someone. $750, I think was what they were last set at. But
Okay. All right. Any other questions from anyone? All right, so we'll discuss inspections, but before we discuss inspections, I'm just going to ask you, you understand that the BCA can lower values, keep them the same. It can also increase values. And, I'm just looking at 156 Blue Hill Road. The best evidence, according to the tax appeal handbook, of the fair market value is a recent sale. The recent sale of that property was at $725,000. The property is assessed at $549, $549,890, which is lower than the recent sale. So just with that information, and it's totally up to you, do you want to withdraw this property from the appeal process?
I'm confused. You can use recent sales to set a value?
Yes, the BCA can.
Oh, the assessor can't, but
Was
the BCA
saying
can.
he uses a different method, the cost approach.
But
So
the-
you don't have to be equitable across the whole town when you assess a new rate.
No, well, we're looking at the fair market value of this property. The fair market value, according to the tax appeal handbook, the best evidence of the fair market value of a property is a recent sale of that property.
That only the BCA can use, the assessor cannot.
Well, no, he could. But we're making the determination of what the fair market value is. So that is some evidence, significant evidence of the fair market value of that property.
I guess I've been ill-advised that you could not set it at, that you had to use the same process across all property owners in setting a tax rate or a assessment. That's what you're saying.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, so what we do is I tried to explain earlier. The state does a 3-year analysis of sales. That ends at April 1, 2024. So we have to use the sales up until that point for the last 3 years, calibrate the camera system to try to determine the assessments for all properties in town. So in trying to support the value that we have in there, I don't go past April 1 because sales after April 1 weren't used to calibrate the system. So in an appeal, I could use sales after April 1 to try to appraise your property, but that wouldn't be fair to you because we didn't use that to calibrate the system to come up with everybody else's assessments in town. So on an appeal, the assessor, the board, the appellants can use any sales up until the day you're doing the appeal to try to support the value that you think that the market should have. So in your case, your value, the assessed value on your property didn't use your sale, as you can see, because we came up with a much lower value than what you paid for it.
Right, as did most of my neighbors not have their assessment increased because of sales.
It's totally up to you. I just want to point out those facts to you.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure, but we're not getting into debate on this.
Oh, you can stop me if you want.
Okay.
But you just said that since your neighbors, what did you just say about your neighbors?
There are 2 properties have been
Did
assessed.
they appeal is my question.
Oh, I don't know.
That was, when you brought it up, if they didn't
Yeah.
appeal, it's a moot point.
Right.
That's all I
Well,
was.
yeah, understood.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's
Okay.
totally up to you what you want to do.
Okay. So we're scheduling what?
The inspections for all 4 properties right now.
And I shared this with Teresa, when I opened my certified mail, I was doing it at the edge of the driveway, looked at 1 page, saw the 13th and did not look at the second page. So I'm sorry for just not showing up last week. My fault, didn't realize it. My bad. So yeah, I think I was already prepared to withdraw the Beaver Hall property, like we
Okay.
call it, the 13 Beaver Street. Without presenting anything, and what I had to present was marginal at best to the current assessment. I definitely don't want to withdraw the saddle, but I also don't necessarily Want to make you guys all, you have to go walk and look at that.
We just have to look at it.
Yeah.
You,
So we
so
can look
if
from
you
it.
want, you can waive the inspection.
I would happily waive the
Yeah.
inspection for that. I
Okay.
don't want
All
to
right.
cause a hike for no reason. There's nothing to look at.
Okay.
And then, in regards to Gasly, I would like to proceed,
Okay.
and with the house.
That's his stuff. This is ours.
Yeah, so we'll withdraw the house.
Okay. So you're withdrawing Beaver and Blue Hill.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And you're waiving the inspection
of the
for
lot.
Saddle
Correct.
But we should look
Ridge.
at.
So that means we just
Gasly.
need to
Gasly.
schedule for Gasly. And so I'd be happy to do that. It's right next to me or very close to where I live. Is it, what dates?
So I could arrange for someone else to show that pretty easily.
Okay.
We leave Friday afternoon for vacation for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be there. We just have to have someone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
please.
Yeah, it's a big one. I'm in town tomorrow. I know it's right tomorrow, but happy to meet someone tomorrow. You easily have someone meet you Friday morning, and I'd have to check with other availability.
What dates work for people?
Well, I would do a 10 o'clock on the 15th after that other one.
That's Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, I can't join you on that one. I could do the 9 o'clock. I just can't.
Anybody available tomorrow morning?
I am.
I'm tied up at noon, maybe 11:30 with time to get there, but I'm free in the AM.
Because we've got the one at 1:30.
I'm also free after the one at 1:30. I'm free till I'm free in the afternoon too on tomorrow.
Afternoon tomorrow, I'm not free.
Okay, well,
We have business competition to judge.
All
Right.
That's good.
and I'm free sometimes on Friday. Got stuff going on, but
Is your stuff going on after 10 o'clock?
I have a 9 o'clock BCA thing at 21 Aldrich Road.
Yeah.
I have a walkthrough of property we're selling. And I'm in the real estate office from 1 to 4, but if I have to run out, I probably could. But Friday, Thursday, for me, Thursday morning or Thursday mid-afternoon would be best.
Thursday morning would work for me.
Okay, take your time.
So we need one more person.
You're out of the chamber.
Which morning, what time?
Well, we're still trying to arrive. We only have 2 members of the inspection team right now,
Yeah,
so
I
we need
can't
one
do
more.
Okay, 9 o'clock. If you
which-
guys will get up early and do it.
Gotta be
Because
home by now.
I hate those middle of the day ones. They.
9's fine.
Okay, well, gosh, I can't wait.
Is 9 all right?
9 o'clock on the 14th.
On the 14th.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So who am I going with? Tony and?
Tony.
and
Tony and me.
John?
Yep.
Okay.
John.
Watch out for John.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You.
Yeah.
What's the address
Yeah.
again?
Yes,
3
Right across from
Gasly Way?
Honda Road.
yeah.
Ghastly job.
What is it?
Ghastly
Right across
job
from
way.
Honda Road, 3 Gasly
Up on the bank.
Job
Job
way.
Way.
Yeah.
Oh, Gasly job.
I always wondered, was it Ghastly Job or Ghastly Joe?
Job.
Job, okay.
Go towards the White House on the right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, up on the hill. Yep, got it.
There's no house there, it's just the building.
Okay, 9 o'clock
Yep.
That's the location.
at the location.
And then 1:30 at Elwell.
And it's 1:30 and not 1. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
9 AM on the 14th, 3 Gasly Way. In the
Yeah.
book.
Okay. Thank you, Adams. Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Next hearing, Marshall. Property number 00304033.000 Stream Drive. This is a continuance, so everybody's sworn in. Yeah, you have to come up. No, come on up. Because no one will be able to hear you unless you're right in front of that microphone.
And this is,
You're testifying too.
yeah, I probably need to be sworn in.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right. You can see, well, he sort of can see you.
Okay.
Not really though. All right, so
And
Kitty, you're sworn in, Russ is sworn in, so we just need to swear in Mr. Schreiber. So please raise your right hand. Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I'm just going to ask, we've already gone through, you've gotten a copy of the procedures, but I will ask the BCA if they have any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications with any of the witnesses.
No.
No.
All right, none. All right. Russ, I think we've already introduced this property. So I'm going to let the appellants start and present their case.
Okay.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Kitty. I can start and then we'll kind of go back and forth if that's okay. Good?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So I just, I know I didn't get you content in advance and I apologize. I was intending to be there and unfortunately have fallen a little sick and I didn't want to get anyone else sick. So some of the content that I had previously provided under my own BCA hearing in terms of the statistical townwide reappraisal, particularly the errors in the property cards. So again, you know, out of the 265 grievance hearings that were held and heard by the assessor's office, approximately 23 of those were noted in your paperwork and notices to taxpayers of outcomes. 23 of those were actually noted as grievance hearings were won by corrected data. 23 out of the 265 is roughly a 9% margin of error based on the data itself. If we expand that out, that potentially creates a significant exposure for data in that's bad, data out that's even worse. As the Vermont Agency of Administration Department of Taxes, you know, statistical updates are noted, likely not an acceptable method of establishing equitable values, as the inequities that currently exist within the grand list may be magnified using a statistical update. So what I wanted to do is, in particular, I think the assessor previously stated Miss Marshall's property is fairly unique, right? In that it is was a two-family or a single family with an ADU now. The opportunity and the sample size, right, is also reflective. So if there's errors in Miss Marshall's home, those errors are also compounded. So what I would like to do is then now turn your attention to the property card. So one of the things that we did in reviewing Miss Marshall's property was obviously reviewed the obvious things, which is bedroom counts, bathroom counts, etc. What we did find is, in fact, before Miss Marshall purchased the home, one of the bedrooms was removed and converted into a dining room and no longer has a closet, no longer has a doorway or a door for that matter. And so the bedroom count is in fact one less in the regular living space. And that's been the condition for quite some time, actually, since she purchased the home. The other point that I wanted to just bring up is the space that's being considered an ADU or previously an apartment is in fact uninhabitable. It is not a functioning space. The ceiling heights are below 6.5 feet. the space itself, the bathroom is non-functional. The windows are truly, in fact, not usable. So it's really not a livable space. One of the things that I've discussed with Ms. Marshall is that for next year's tax appraisal, we'd likely be going with the zoning office to remove that from the zoning altogether. So we'll be proceeding to figure out what needs to be done to that space to redact it from either even being an ADU or even an apartment for that matter, as it's never actually been utilized as such. That said, the space that also is considered a bedroom and a bathroom in that area is also not accurate. And then finally, the square footage of the home is probably inaccurate as well in terms of the total square footage of livable space. And what I would suggest is during inspection, you'll review those claims that there is in fact one less bathroom that's livable and functional, and 2 less bedrooms that are livable and functional. So if I go back to, just kind of the errors in the reappraisal, not only are there necessarily errors in the 23 properties that won their grievances at the assessor's level due to incorrect data, there's also apparent discrepancies on Miss Marshall's Lister card as well. So I think if I just bring some history to Miss Marshall's valuation, in 2019, the appraisal and valuation set by the assessor's office, actually, I believe it was the Board of Listers at that time, was $70,000. However, that was subsequently corrected and reduced and then also confirmed in the reassessment in 2020 down to $30,000. That was a valuation of $10,000 for land. I believe it's $10,000 for land and $20,000 for the home.
20 for land. 20 for
I'm
land.
sorry.
20 for land. I talked to Sarah today, and
Yeah.
10 for house.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you for clarifying that. And so what we would be amenable to in terms of the valuation. So we, are asked to come to the board with comparables. Well, number one, we have already heard, Mr. Boudoin's statement that it's a unique property, and so comparables are hard to find. So I would concede to the board that coming up with comparables is somewhat problematic here. Second, even if we did come up with some comparables, I think the notion of the data integrity and the data output represents a significant challenge as well. And so I would stand in front of the board in request of the valuation be returned to the 2019 assessment level prior to the reduction in 2020 when the townwide reassessment was done. So a reduction from the 143 and change down to $70,000 for evaluation based on those facts and points. So I'll pause and see if Kitty, if you have any other points to add.
Oh, I have a question about what the neighborhood 5 means.
Yeah, Russ can answer that.
Oh, neighborhood 5 compared to, that's my property, and the others were neighborhood 2.
It's just a geographic area.
Oh, okay. Also, I don't know if it makes any difference that it's listed as a farmhouse and a chalet and another report, and it theoretically, it is a gambrel house. I don't know if that makes any difference. I guess a gambrel means there are cathedral ceilings, so it's less space on the second floor. If that, as far as the total square footage, makes a difference. And I imagine you see that in photo, but the listing as a chalet or in one, well, this is the 2010 residential appraisal report. I think that's the one. So I don't know if square footage, when it's considered the square footage of the length and the outside measurements of the house. How does that show what the livable space inside is? And there is a discrepancy as far as the square footage in the base, well, what so-called apartment. There are in the different rooms, the space between the drywall and the concrete. In one room is 1.5 feet, and another wall, it's about 5 feet. I believe that may have been how houses were constructed then in 1972. But the livable space, well, in the so-called apartment, in those back rooms have no windows. So that is.
So Ms. Marshall, based on Mr. Schreiberg's testimony that the square footage was inaccurate, when we go out and inspect it, we will make some effort to determine what the correct square footage is.
Okay.
Thank you. And in particular, the space in the basement, just to call out, and I appreciate that you'll verify, but the space is, not considered by all standards livable in that basement, so should be removed. And I think that would make a difference as well in the calculations. So.
Okay.
And okay.
Go ahead.
In the residential rental housing health safety code, it says that there should be a sewage disposal or to a properly operating subsurface wastewater disposal system, and it's not working. There was a sub pump for the sewage in that so-called apartment, but it's not working anymore. So that is another reason it's.
So just so I understand, are you saying your septic system does not work, or just it does not work in the basement? Okay.
In the basement, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
in that so-called apartment that couldn't be used as a rental apartment.
Okay.
Besides the other reasons.
Got it. I'm gonna give Russ a chance to testify. I failed to remember that we have a new property card. So he probably wants to talk about that. And then if he has anything that he wants to address with respect to the information here tonight, he can do that too. Russ.
Oh.
Okay, so just to clarify, yeah, all properties in town are measured from the outside. So the square footage, the living area is determined from exterior measurements,
Right.
not measuring the room by room.
Right, but the livable space?
I made some adjustments to the depreciation. I increased the depreciation. So the current value I have on it now is $120,640. And that's based on, I put the properties, I put it in fair quality, in poor condition, and I have 72% depreciation. meaning that the house is only 28% good. I'm trying to be as fair as I can with it. Any errors on the card, we can correct. Mr. Schreiber mentioned the room count. So we have 11 rooms, 7 bedrooms. How many should we have?
That should be 5. Is that correct, Kitty?
Yes.
Yep.
5 bedrooms? And
5
how many-
bedrooms, and the room count would be respectively 9.
Okay.
The one that
Okay,
is
that's-
no longer a bedroom, right?
Yeah,
That's correct. That's right, Kitty.
the way the calculations are made, the room counts don't affect the value. It's based on the square footage. So we can adjust those. That's not a problem. The issue of plumbing that's not functional, we're not qualified to determine whether a bathroom is functional or not. If it's there, we have to count it. But again, I put everything as excessive depreciation on it to keep the value down.
Yeah. If I can ask a question, and I think this came up previously. So you make mention that the number of rooms, particularly bedrooms, don't calculate into the valuation. Is that the statement you just made?
That's correct. Yeah.
So on property cards, why are there, when you see a comparable, an adjustment based on the number of bedrooms in those comparable homes as it relates to the subject property?
That's standard procedure. When you do a market comparable, there's 2 methodologies. So the market comparable approach does make adjustments for the room count.
So
but we don't use that directly. Again, it's supporting information. It's evidence to try to make sure that we have at least 2 methods to try to determine the assessed value. But in this case, because of the condition of the house, I wasn't able to really determine any comparables. They really wouldn't match up.
Fair statement. I think that combined with the high probability that the comparables data may not actually be reflective of what's really true there. So I guess I would lean on the existing statements that I've made before in terms of accuracy of the data that went into the statistical analysis.
Okay. Go ahead, Russ.
Well, just to confirm, yeah, there's nothing perfect about doing a statistical reappraisal. We followed all the methods that the state requires.
Yeah.
And we do the best we can with it, but it's not perfect. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and I would actually say that the mess that was inherited was really a mess that was inherited back in 2020 because it's data in, data out, and the visual inspections are not a foolproof way either, and that's proven out with all of the corrected data that's been noted in the grievance hearings so far. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Does any member of the BCA have questions? Nick?
How many bathrooms are in working
I'm
order?
curious what he would suggest would be the best method.
2. 2. Thank you.
But I only use 1. I'm the only one.
Right,
that
but
lives in
there
the
are 2 there. Thank you.
So Russ, I have a question about the depreciation. You said 72%, right? And
Correct.
And so does that come, how do you arrive at that number?
Some of it's a matter of opinion. But based on what, I had somebody go out, take a look at the property. It does need a lot of work. And based on what was seen out there and how much needs to be done. So, you look at the cost to cure, how much does it cost to repair or improve what's there? There's no exact number. So I just, in the fairness, I increased the depreciation based on, what I heard from the appellant and did as much as I could with it. But again, all the appraisals, it's all opinion. That's what an appraisal is. It's opinion and value.
Um,
So we try to use the system as much to take, the subjectivity out of it. But there's so much that is a matter of opinion. You get 5 appraisers out there, you're gonna get 5 different answers.
So Russ, just hypothetically, what happens to the value of a house when it's uninhabitable?
It would have 0 value, or we'd have to put some minimal value on it. So actually, when you get down to 50% depreciation or more, you're getting close to something that's not habitable. So this, the way I've assessed it now, it appears that it's on the border of not being habitable based on 72% depreciation, which is probably more than it should be, because it is a functional, usable dwelling.
Anybody else have questions?
Can I ask
Sure.
what increased dwelling depreciation means? When I received the letter from the town of Wilmington.
You might have to speak into the microphone.
Oh,
Miss.
what
Yep.
does increased remarks, increased dwelling depreciation, what does that mean? How does that?
That's what we've been just talking about. The new property card that you should have just received has increased depreciation. And so what that means, it actually lowers the value of the dwelling.
Okay.
So it's in your benefit. So actually, if you look at the new property card, the value of your property went down. In the new property card, which you may not have seen. I don't know.
Yes, she was sent.
Well, I know it was sent, but she may not have. looked at
Well,
it.
What was the previous value? I don't have the old one in front of me.
Well,
This was
that's what-
143, 130.
Okay, so it went down $23,000. According to
from
what
the
the
initial,
assessor,
from the 140,
right. So he did make a change.
okay,
Yeah,
but, and this is still confusing why it goes, well, from 30,000 to 129, and in 2010, it was assessed at 177, and I contested that. And I wasn't aware of these kind of hearings, so I just made a phone call and it went back to the original. It just is kind of confusing.
You can.
you can.
I have a question.
Yep,
And thank you for coming. Thank you both.
No, thank you for suggesting an advocate, and I did try to,
You're doing great.
okay.
If you don't mind my asking, is the property insured?
Insured?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know for how much?
Huh. An outrageous amount, 400, more than 400,000.
Thank you. Back.
Sure.
Okay.
And that's what I'm having to pay. for
Any
the
other
insurance,
questions?
Which is,
Insane.
No.
Okay. So Kitty, the next thing we need to do is we need to schedule an inspection of your property. Which means 3 of us will be coming out to your property
Right.
to do it, and we're gonna check the square footage and some of the other things that Mr. Schreiberg
These
raised.
are the ones we wrote.
So is there a good time to inspect?
you have to give me a couple of weeks, please.
Just as a-
Monday
For this? Yeah.
for this.
That's fine.
I can't do it before then.
Yeah, well, she said you want a couple of weeks.
We need to see it fairly soon.
Okay.
Yeah,
but-
we're on a time frame to get
Well,
everybody's
it does
done.
say within 30 days.
Yeah, but What about Monday?
Can we do it Monday?
Today's Wednesday. I guess I've been so overwhelmed with all this stuff. I'm like, I have a sink full of dishes. Everything is a mess.
We're not
Because-
looking at that, honestly. That's
No.
not.
We're
not
looking
what
at
we're
the
doing.
house, the
The house
structure.
itself, not anything inside, we need to look at the size and just, it's part of what we're supposed to do
Right.
to be fair.
And next, can it be later than Monday?
Monday would be a great day
We
because
have to finish all our evaluations by next Wednesday. So
How about Tuesday? And Meg,
Yes.
you are Meg.
I am, yeah.
Streeter, right, thank you.
So Tuesday would be possible? What about for you, John?
I can do Tuesday. Anytime.
What time, Tuesday?
I'm totally flexible on Tuesday.
Probably do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good. You want to do it? Like, what about John? 10? 10, okay?
Does that work for you, Vince?
I can
Or-
make it work.
All right. So Kitty,
Mhm.
Tuesday, which is November 19th at 10.
At 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay.
And so Vince, Meg, and I will go there. And all we're going to do is look at the property, especially with regard to the testimony we heard tonight, just to verify things about square footage, bathrooms, things like that. And we just take a look at the property and, write down notes about it. It's about the building and the land, but not what's in the building.
Okay, and, well, again, I did find in some of the literature, going Google, that if there's a sudden, if the valuation is suddenly increased or decreased, contact assessor's office and ask for details.
Right. You've already done that, I think,
Oh,
because you went through the
that's-
grievance.
That's part of the process,
Yeah.
I think, is what that's
Okay,
talking
but
about.
why it went down to 30,000 from,
Back in 2010, is that what you were talking about?
No.
Or 2020? I'm back.
2020, it went
Yeah.
to, from the 70 to 30.
Did you grieve at that time? Did you go through this process?
No, I didn't.
No,
The process.
in 2019, the taxes were 70,000 valuation rather. In 2020, the taxes were reassessed during the townwide reappraisal at 30,000. So that represents a 477% increase on the original value that was changed in 2024, as opposed to the 233% change that I'm recommending or suggesting be returned to the 70,000 valuation.
Or,
No.
So Katie, I think, I-
2020, if there was no BCA process.
Right.
I guess also as far as the homestead declaration.
Well, that's nothing we handle.
Yeah.
Anything to do with.
Katie, I think at this point, they've got all the data. We've given them enough to consider. They need to then come in and inspect, look at the building, and then they'll make their assessment. And then as I discussed with you, we'll get together and we'll work with the zoning board to get it changed and the ADU removed altogether so that it becomes more of a conforming property and something that can be based and measured across the grand list easier.
Okay, so we'll see
Okay.
you on Tuesday, November 19th at 10 a.m.
I'm sure.
Okay,
if you wanted to
and it's
visit
been,
one of these.
since I've owned it, a single family home.
Okay.
Right.
No, we
And
know that.
as a point of interest, I did the summer when I was moving in, and I purchased it in the spring. I did have 2 tenants that were living in the basement, but that they were Mr. and Mrs. Toad.
They're no longer there.
Interest, yes.
Okay.
And I left the door open and they
Left.
Left, good.
no, they came in and so they could come in and hang out at the water tank.
Ah,
So
all right,
Thank you.
they were my tenants.
all right, well,
Thank you,
thank you
Kitty.
very much, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Okay.
Thank you to the
Thank
BCA
you.
and
you.
Ross, really appreciate your time this evening.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
Okay.
And thank you, Russ, for your time. I was supposed to be earlier.
No, you're right on time.
Oh,
So,
okay.
thank you.
Tomorrow,
Okay,
1:30.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So that-
Have a good night. Bye now.
bye.
Well, where did-
Okay, good night.
Good night, Russ.
Today.
Yeah, if you need anything else, just give me a buzz if you need anything clarified.
I'm just curious, I want to make sure that's Tony.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's
He was the one that couldn't.
I think he was talking.
For tomorrow, Thursday. At one
Um,
point Teresa said.
Yeah, I don't
at
think we
1.
need anything
I had
clarified
1,
now,
but now it's
so
1:30.
Okay,
we're just gonna read inspection reports.
I just want to make sure I get there
okay, thanks for your help.
Thank
Yeah.
What day are you
Thanks,
asking
Russ.
about?
tomorrow, Thursday,
Thursday,
Ziggy's house.
I
Ziggy's
have
house. I have 1 PM.
1 PM.
Okay. Thought you coming after.
I'll be a little late. Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Now I get it. I'm sorry. I have an appointment at work from 12 to 1.
Okay.
I was gonna
Okay.
sneak out and get
Yeah.
down there as quick as
Whatever
I could.
works for you.
No,
What
it's
I
okay.
wrote down
just
was
wanna-
1
yeah.
to 2.
You
I know,
can
just-
read it tonight.
Yeah, and that's fine with me if that's what it is, but I just wasn't sure because.
Yeah,
He
you
is
guys
new.
made there, I'll be there by 1:10, 1:15.
Let's say 1.
It was
That's
not.
fine.
And this is, yeah,
That sounds
this
good.
is, Elwell Heights.
Yeah,
So that's a bit of a hike.
John
from
Gannett.
Dover.
I know.
You know.
You want to say 1:15?
I'm
It
I'm
would
on the
be
select
better
board.
for me.
Yeah,
Do we have to meet anybody there?
yes,
Livingston?
we do.
Who?
The wife.
Will you be there at 1
Yes.
o'clock? or
Well, let's do 1:15. I would be.
We have to tell the
sure
wife,
we
or
got
how do we communicate
feedback
that?
from-
Are you
I'll
changing
go
your
at 1.
time?
How's that?
I'll do my best to get
Yeah.
there at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
I could, John Red, I could probably sneak out a few minutes early.
yeah, won't make you stay.
It's the lunch meeting, but
We've been
okay.
at his house before. Last-
Yep.
last fall. So, be quick.
Is this Ziggy's house?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
There should be an inspection report.
in that file.
Yeah, hold on. I was there, so
Yeah, that's right. The 3 of us.
it was John, you and me, I think.
Was it Tony?
No, Tony, you're
I
right.
was there.
Do you know who wrote the report?
I know who didn't.
I know who didn't, so. I'm
Okay.
guessing
It
was
may have
you.
been me. If it was me, I got it on the computer. And that may be the reason it's not in her computer.
Okay.
All right, I will look for the inspection
Okay,
report,
great.
because that'll make your lives a lot easier.
Yeah, thank you, John.
But we're not looking at the same thing. Last time we looked at the garage.
We looked at the whole property last time.
Yeah.
Wasn't the issue the garage?
It was, but we did look at everything.
Yeah, we went through all the rooms. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, so we probably have the
Yeah.
full report.
No, whenever
Yeah.
you do an inspection, even if somebody's challenging one thing, you have to look at
Yeah.
everything. Find something else. All right, so Therese, inspection reports.
You have Schwartz, you have LaRusso, you have Corvo, and Spain.
And I have Schwartz.
All right,
Did you say that?
yeah.
Who wants to read?
Well,
Tony,
all right.
to start with.
Which one?
Okay,
Schwartz?
this is, I'm just reading the ones we.
Thank you.
did.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Okay, so I have one mistake on the top line, it was November 8th, but anyway. Inspection of 7 Green Tea Place, unit R2, East Heights, Jeffrey and Lynn LaRusso. The inspection was done on Friday, November 8th at 200.
Excuse me 1 second. I'm very sorry. I turned off this microphone. Does this need to be recorded?
Yes,
I'm very sorry.
I think it's okay, Tony.
So the inspection was done on Friday, November 8th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Mr. LaRusso was present for the inspection. No member of the assessor's office was present. The property is located at 7 Green Tea Place in Haystack Highlands Development on Man Road and is a 3-bedroom condominium. The unit is built on a slab and is vinyl sided. There is a covered porch at ground level accessing the main entrance. There's a small storage area for wood here. There is an uncovered deck at the back of the unit with sliding door to the interior. There is also a small grassed area. The level portion of this grass area is not large, but could accommodate a couple of chairs in front of the deck. It extends onto a gradual grass slope that goes down to a path running along the golf course. There's a nice view of the golf course. At the narrowest point of the grass area, there is a steep bank leading down to the wetlands/swamp area, which is not too large. There is a fence along the steep section of the grass area. Entering the main floor, there is a large ski room/mudroom on the left. The main floor flows into an open concept kitchen, dining, and living room. The ceiling is vaulted to the second story in the living room area. Windows, floor to ceiling, provide a lot of natural lighting. A sliding glass door from the dining area provides access to the back deck. There's a dishwasher and small island in the kitchen area. The floor in the living room is carpet, and the floors in the dining room and kitchen are wood. There's wainscoting in the kitchen and dining room. A hallway leads off the kitchen. There's a small pantry, parentheses closet, just off the kitchen. Also, a utility closet opens on the left. It has a concrete floor. A hall bathroom is good size with sink, toilet, and shower. Walls are painted and the floor is tiled. There's a small closet just before entering a bedroom at the end of the hall. There is a small closet in the bedroom. Stairs leading to the second floor are carpeted. There's a very small landing and walkway also carpeted overlooking the main floor. The master bedroom is carpeted, has a small sitting area, small closet, vaulted ceilings, and bath. The bathroom has double sinks, shower, jetted tub, and a small closet. Continuing down the walkway, there's a small closet and bathroom. The bathroom has a sink, toilet, and small shower and tiled floors. The second bedroom at the end of the walkway has a small sitting area, vaulted ceiling, and is also carpeted. There appears to be access to an attic or storage area from this bedroom. Unless otherwise noted, the walls are painted. Respectfully submitted, Charlie Foster, John Gannon, and Bonnie Lorimer. So do we have to say anything more at
Nope,
this point?
that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Who's next?
I'll do Schwartz, 17 Ives Road, from Tony, Tom Fitzgerald, and me. Inspection was made on November 4th, 10 a.m. Owner Peter Schwartz was present. No one from the assessor's office. House is located on approximately 3 acres on Ives Road, which is a private gravel road. The lot slopes away from the house site with frontage also on Colebrook Road. Upon entering the house from a covered porch, there's an entry hall with laundry, full bath, and a bedroom to the left before one reaches the open concept kitchen, dining area, and living room. There's a propane fireplace in the living area and a glass patio door to a wooden deck in poor condition that runs the width of the house. The flooring on this level is carpeting and vinyl. Kitchen appliances are stainless with average quality cabinetry and counters. Upstairs lead to a full and unfinished walkout basement and also up to the second floor where there are 2 small bedrooms and a large bedroom with a small balcony and large windows. There's a 3/4 hall bathroom with a small shower unit. House has vinyl siding on 3 sides with wood siding on the side facing Ives Road. The heating system is baseboard hot water with heating, oil, fuel. Finishes and fixtures are of average quality with apparently no upgrades. There's a small shed and ample parking at road level. Highest and best use is residential.
Car out there going up?
I don't know whose car it is. I'm looking for
I'm out there.
that. Porsche, where's your Porsche?
Yeah.
The red Porsche. Probably the first car.
Yeah,
No, it's
must
car
be it.
over by an acre.
Who's doing Zaringer?
Doing the
Zaringer.
viewing.
The inspection?
I'm going to that one, I believe, with Meg.
Is that Ziggy?
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's the one we heard tonight.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at old inspection reports and I stumbled upon that one.
Oh, Zaringer?
Yeah, so I can forward that.
Tony, Meg, and Bonnie.
21 Aldrich Road, PCA.
Yeah,
All right.
9 a.m. Friday.
Meg and Bonnie.
Bonnie, yeah. Great. So that's why he had so much data.
I'm not on Friday. Am I on Friday?
Yeah, we said Friday, 9 AM.
Oh, yeah, right. I wrote it down.
All right, Corvo or Spain?
Tom was doing Corvo, right?
And I'm doing Spain, land only, not
Yeah,
done yet. Went there yesterday.
right. And Corvo was last week and Tom was doing that one.
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, good.
Want me to read it?
I did Spain, but yeah, Tony hasn't read it yet.
You
Well,
can
why
still,
not?
you can still do it.
Okay, so you want me to read it?
Yeah,
It's at home on the desk.
Tony, did you think you were doing it?
The one we saw yesterday on the corner?
Yeah.
I thought you wanted me to do it, you were doing the next one.
No.
somebody was doing the.
I sent it over
first
today.
lot. Who was doing Bull? The one-
Tony was doing the one that you walked up.
Yeah,
And I did
you were doing Bull
Oh,
up on, you know,
By Haystack?
no, Spain's the one by Haystack and,
Higley Hill Road is Bull,
yeah,
somewhere off of Higley Hill.
Bull?
Cliffs.
Cliffs Hollow.
Yeah,
I'm doing that one?
yeah, you said you were yesterday.
No, 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 no,
You're gonna
no.
go walking again in front of
No, 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 no.
Oh, you did.
All right. I'll be happy to. Thank you for reminding me. I thought I was doing the one on Hummingbird Lane or whatever.
No, remember you wanted this long speech about the new guy's gotta do one?
Yeah, but you said you
You're
were
like, the new guy, gotta do it, the new guy.
said you were the next
Let me
one.
see, hold on. I wrote it down. You were doing Bull and Charlie was doing Spain. It's final, it's a poster.
Paul.
A lot of Bull
I'm
going
gonna
around
get right
this
on
table.
it. You.
Go, Charlie.
Okay, the inspection was made on October 12th, 2024 at 1:30. Neither of the assessors nor the owners were present. The property consists of 1.1 acre lot that is accessible from East Village Circle. The land is a corner lot adjacent to the owner's residential lot. The lot is a wooded and flat area. Upon inspection, the surface appeared to be on a wetland throughout, as consistency under the trees was swampy. There is no determined use on this property due to a wet condition on the lot.
It's one of the best ones you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Put a little kiss at the bottom for you.
Want me to read Corvo?
Sure.
Someone else want to read it? From Meg Streeter, Tony Tribuno, Tom Fitzgerald, Corvo Family Revocable Trust. The above inspection team met with Mr. Ken Corvo at the residence in question on November 4th, 2024. Assessor's office was not represented. Corvo Way is located off Ives Road. When driving west, the home is on the right of the driveway and a large storage barn is on the left. The exterior is rough-hewn lumber accentuated by large beams used to support a sally port. Is that a thing?
Mhm.
At the front
My
entrance,
question too.
as well as stoop supports. The roof is asphalt and all were in very good condition. Upon entering the home, you stepped into a large foyer/mudroom with slate floors and access to a bathroom on the immediate left. Beyond this area, one enters a kitchen/dining area that is adorned with a sizable fireplace (parentheses gas) that is constructed of native slate/stone and rises the full 2 stories within the building. The vaulted ceiling is finished in wood, as are the sizable post and beam supports that are prevalent in this area. The frame was done by a local artisan that specializes in this type of construction. The kitchen was located on the opposite wall and built to accommodate moderate-sized gatherings and is also in very good condition. Off the living/kitchen area is an enclosed porch, all finished with windows, trim work, and sheetrock. However, this area requires a separate heater to allow use in winter months. An additional deck without enclosure but with roof overhang extends the remaining length of the building. 2 bedrooms and a bath are located off a hallway beyond the fireplace on the 1st floor. The 2nd floor is accessed by a staircase extending from the living area and traverses behind the fireplace. 2 additional bedrooms and a bath with a continuance of the 2nd floor, resulting in the creation of a walkway, quote unquote walkway, above the living area and used for collectibles, etc. The creation is unique. It is not a full two-story dwelling. The basement is not complete, but an effort has been made to use some of the space as is. There are French doors to the exterior that are used for accessing the hot tub. The best and highest use of this property is residential. Any others?
No.
So deliberations.
Okay.
So before we go into deliberations, I just want to go through this list.
On record or stop recording?
And we can go through it on the record
Okay.
because it's not deliberations. All right, so
What list?
the list of decisions now needed that you sent out today.
Okay.
I just want to go through it
Yeah.
and make sure
Good.
we're taking care of them all.
Right.
So Boyd Eastover, I sent in today, but I guess there's a disagreement on that one, but we can talk about that in deliberations. Beaman,
Well, that one I can finish because Tom had done the decision. We just didn't have the testimony for appellant and assessor.
I thought that was Beaman.
Well, that one too. I
Okay,
need testimonies.
okay.
So if yours has the testimony, I can
I did Boyd
match
Eastover.
that with the decision that Tom had written.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to talk about Boyd. So let's go to Beaman. Okay, I can finish it. Frano, which I think Tom, Meg, and I went to.
Yeah.
I don't know if we agreed who's gonna even write the inspection report.
Tom wrote it.
Did he?
Which one?
Tom,
Frano.
Frano.
I have nothing.
Tom, I'm sure you wrote something. 'Cause I
Yeah, he
remember
wanted to do that
The
one.
I gave him
inspection, we had the
comparables,
inspection, but I
and
haven't
he thanked
received
me. I
anything.
thought when we voted on the decision that, because I gave him comparables and.
All right, so I need to check with Tom.
On that.
We have the inspection report?
Yeah, you already read it into,
Okay,
Maybe that's what I'm remembering, not the
all right, check with
decision.
Tom on decision.
um,
All right. All right, then we go to Scrutato. I emailed with Meg earlier this week.
Yeah,
And I agreed to do the opinion on that one, given that I don't think Sarah's gonna do it. So
right.
I will do Scrutato.
she suggested she would unless someone's heard different from her.
Well, it hasn't been done, so I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Because we need to get them done.
I did send out a template to her.
All right, well, I just don't think it's gonna get done, so. Bossert's on me, Stewart I've done. But we need to discuss it tonight in deliberations.
Yeah.
Schreiberg is done, we need to discuss it
Just
tonight
done.
in deliberations. We just got the inspection report for Kobo, so I don't think the decision is done. Who's gonna do the decision?
Would that be Tom? He did the report, right?
Okay, so I'll talk to Tom on,
He might have already done it.
Let me call him now.
no. All right,
Schwartz, I have the decision
okay.
ready. You can vote on it.
Great.
tonight.
Great River, I'm doing the inspection report, which is easy, and the decision, but I didn't want to do, well, I was working on decisions
Yeah.
this week, not,
Right,
because once you write the inspection report and read it, you're under a time deadline,
Right.
so,
exactly.
but that one I will get done. Blue Hill,
Yay. Good
withdrawn.
work.
Cleo's withdrawn. I didn't think he was gonna get it there for a while. I was
Right.
trying to help the guy. I mean, LaRusso, we just read that, the
Just did
inspection
that.
report. So
Who's right?
Bonnie, you're gonna do the opinion on LaRusso?
Yes,
Okay, great.
I have it all done.
In Spain, that was,
I can do the report. Is there a template? I guess my question is, where does the other stuff come from? The assessors.
well, we'll deliberate on it tonight, so that should give you an idea of what to write. I can help you.
Okay.
Alman,
Which one is Ullman? Let's talk about.
that, what was Alman? That's a good question.
Yeah, doesn't ring a bell.
80 Sheer Hill Road.
Oh, yeah.
That was at the November 6th.
Wow.
That was what we just did. So do we schedule an inspection yet?
80
Was that one that
Sheer
they?
Hill Road.
that
Yeah.
they
When did
didn't-
we do it?
Did they not appear? And so that means they
We
haven't.
did on November 6th.
That means
Well,
they
that was
haven't
when they were
answered my
scheduled.
email.
They didn't show.
Oh. You're right, they didn't
They
appear.
didn't appear.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
not here. Yeah, so that's withdrawn.
All right, I'll have to follow up with them.
Yeah, because if they don't allow an inspection, it's done.
So, excuse me, do we have to write something if they're done, or just deny, go away?
Probably would want to record.
I think you'd have to,
It'd
have
be
to
easy.
report how you
Yeah.
get it.
They didn't permit an
Disclose.
inspection, therefore, under the law, it's denied.
So did
So
they,
who's gonna do that?
did they say
Well-
they didn't
well,
permit
I
an
think we
They
need-
didn't
inspection?
I'll
say
do it
anything.
because
gotcha.
if I get an
Just check it.
answer.
As scheduled.
Okay,
Yep.
Not nagging, just checking.
okay, then Zakowski, you
We're
guys,
doing tomorrow.
tomorrow,
Yep.
all right. And then Bull,
That's the one we looked at out in the woods with the gate?
Yep.
On
Okay,
Higley
now I
Hill.
remember.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's me.
okay. All right, well, Marshall,
We'll do after Tuesday.
Yeah, so we
One of
got
us will
that
do it
one.
Tuesday.
Zeringer, I just sent the inspection report to you, all you guys, so it shouldn't be too hard to do.
Right.
And so
Thank you.
Cygnus, we're doing on the 14th for the inspection report.
That's on the 15th, isn't it, at 9? Is that Granal?
I had 14, but
Tomorrow. You're
Tomorrow.
doing it 9
Oh, at
a.m.
9, okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's, okay, who else is on the
I am.
15th?
There's somebody else on the 15th,
Yeah, the Z
Hold on.
guy.
please. On the 15th, we have 21 Aldrich Road.
Yeah, Tony, Bonnie and me.
That's
Yes, I have that.
Yeah, and tomorrow it's Tony, John. And
All right,
Bonnie
and
in
tomorrow
the
is
morning.
Granal. Gotcha.
We have
And,
2 tomorrow.
Yes.
all right, and then the
But who-
last,
what time
9 a.m.
9
on
a.m.
Friday? What time is it on Friday?
9
9 a.m.?
Friday.
That's what I have. Okay, but not Granal, just the other guy.
All right, so then the last one is Saddle Ridge, that he waived the inspection. So
Yeah.
who has written an opinion on one of the vacant lots out there?
We had one earlier. Was that the one? That was the one that was at 1500, but
Yeah, there's been a couple,
yeah, that was A&W Real. Oh, they withdrew.
they withdrew.
Yeah, who else was it? It was one other lot, started with an N.
Nenkov was Deer Hill.
Oh, yeah, Nedcott, I wrote that.
Okay,
I can write Saddle Ridge.
because it'll be the same.
Yeah, it'll be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
All right.
we're ready to go into deliberation.